Take one and two, one. This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the two towers. Debris continues to fall and to rain on the people below. There are people hanging from the windows 90 stories up, and a number of bodies have actually hit the pavement. Another one? Take two. Take two and two, one. This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now waiting to play on one of us.
There was an explosion on floor 7-8. 7-8. Dispatch, we've just had another explosion. Warren Street because of the secondary explosion. We've got numerous people covered with dust from the secondary explosion. We got another explosion on the tower, 1013. Tower 2 has had a major explosion and what appears to be a complete collapse surrounding the entire area. Who's involved in the secondary explosion?
I was up early, actually, and we were going to do a pre-shoot on Spin City, the show I used to do. And so, gosh, I was up, and I was watching the news, and the North Tower was burning. And so, you know, the world was focused on what I guess they were assuming to be pilot error, right, or some tragedy nobody could really explain. And so I saw the South Tower hit live. That famous wide shot where it disappears behind the building, and then we see the tremendous fireball, you know. Later on that day, I was with my brother. I was at my parents' house, and we were out on the deck, and I said, hey, call me insane, but did it sort of look like those buildings came down in a controlled demolition? And he said, well, kind of, but gosh, that's impossible if you think about what it would take for them to orchestrate that. And so as the days and the weeks went on, I was sort of told what to believe, and I was told through mainstream media and all of the talking heads about what really happened.
But I'm told that with the reason it imploded was so much heat from above and so much fuel on the jets that caused it to go down rather than go over.
Never before has a building collapsed because it was hit by an airplane, a steel building. Never before.
There was bombs in there. You could see them going off on each floor. You know what I'm saying? You know, I learned that from watching Loose Change. Like, that was one of the illest documentaries I ever seen. And just the fact that, you know, that level of fire and heat and from the jet fuel can't melt steel. That can't melt that kind of steel. Like, you got actual building engineers and steel people telling you that can't happen.
Yeah, there's over 1,000 of them.
Yeah, like
engineers.
Like, that can't happen. Yeah, can't. You got fire department people that telling you that bombs was going off that day. While they were in the building.
Yeah, many of them my friends who came out and said, the government's lying to you. I don't know if you know William Rodriguez. He's the janitor that worked in there. He heard bombs going off in the building before the planes even hit the building.
William Rodriguez, a maintenance employee at the World Trade Center and the last human being to exit the towers alive, describes a giant blast below his building.
And all of a sudden we heard an explosion. It was a huge explosion that came from under my feet, meaning that it came from the sub-levels between B2 and B3. And then there was a huge explosion at the top of the building. You could hear the difference from the bottom and all the way through the top. The one from the top, which was actually seconds after, was heard very far away. The one at the basement was pretty loud, and you felt your actual feet moving with the floor. The tremor that is sent through the floors, that the walls cracked and the false ceiling totally collapsed.
When I watched the DVD of William Rodriguez, this guy is totally talking from what he remembers. You can clearly see it. He's not making anything up.
Well, he was there. The firefighters and police say that he stayed in to get a lot of them out when things were starting to collapse.
Oh, he's a hero's hero. There's no doubt about it. And when you hear him talk and he tells about what he knows there, how can you not question what went on that day?
Hi, I'm friends with William Rodriguez. He heard the explosions before the planes hit. His friend's skin was hanging off and he had come from the basement. This is a false flag operation. It was planned. I mean, it's too many coincidences. And this is my feeling.
It's 9/11, a very hard day for America, and especially hard for you. You were the janitor. You cleaned the stairways, 110 floors.
Yes.
Your office, sub-basement level 1. There are 6 sub-levels. So the lobby, then sub 1, sub 2, sub 3, sub 4, sub 5, subs. You were at sub 1. You punched in at 8:30 in the morning. You were late. You weren't going to go to work. It was a beautiful day. You were going to take off.
Correct.
You come into work because your boss asked you to. You came in. You were a little bit late. At 8:46, you heard an explosion from beneath you.
From below.
From below.
Yeah.
It was so big that it lifted you up.
Everybody in the office.
14 people.
14 people.
Lifted you up.
Correct.
A few seconds later, you heard another explosion.
Coming all the way from the top of the building.
Turned out that was the plane.
That was the plane.
The first plane.
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely an explosion before the first plane.
Oh, 100% sure.
You have a lot of witnesses who were down there who would confirm that fact.
Yes.
You told that fact to the 9/11 Commission?
Not only did I tell the fact to the 9/11 Commission, but I gave them a list of the eyewitnesses that were there that experienced the same event as I did, and they were never called to testify.
And was your testimony included in the 9/11 report?
No, it doesn't show anywhere.
It doesn't
Actually,
show
it was omitted. There's 576 pages on that book, and you won't find my name anywhere.
Anywhere. You go all over the world and you speak about what happened to you on that day, the fact that you had one of 5 pass keys that allowed you access to any and all doors in the complex?
That is correct, and I have a speech that I do all over the world as a motivation speech, but it always tells the real story of what happened on 9/11. And, like I said, there's a lot of respect all over the world for this kind of story, but when I come here, I am able to tell the story, but it's always either edited or presented in a different way. And only, I guess, C-SPAN had the only pants to actually put my story without editing for basically almost 2 hours.
For 2 hours?
For 2 hours, they let me tell my story. The only media network that allowed me full coverage.
I remember there was one interview that you were doing where you said, I heard a boom, and then they cut the
footage.
Oh,
they cut. That was ABC News. You can see it on Google.
Right, so what you said was, I heard an explosion from below. But as soon as you said explosion, they cut the tape and they made it into the plane.
In the plane, yes.
Yeah. You're not a conspiracy theorist, are you?
I don't.
You're a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I was there. I experienced the event. I was affected, and I'm still affected. It's 7 years. I'm still have open wounds, emotional open wounds. I have to go through this depression, argumentation and debate constantly with politicians fighting for victims' rights. It's just, I'm an activist, but at the same time, I'm a person that was affected by the worst event that we have ever experienced here in the United States. And I tell you, it's just not easy. It doesn't get any easier.
And you and the rest of the survivors, what you're calling for is a new and thorough investigation where all of the witnesses and survivors will be interviewed, and it all will be included. Now, there's a man who you met on September 11th, Felipe David.
Felipe David.
He was on sub-level 2, beneath you, in his office, which is a small closet-sized office.
Right.
His job was to refill the vending machines. And you met him that day in 9/11
He was totally burned.
He was burned.
He was totally burned.
He was beneath you.
He was beneath me, yeah.
No one on your level was burned?
No.
But he was beneath you in level 2. He was completely burned from the waist up.
And there was other people as well that got stuck on the floor below us because of that explosion. They went into an elevator to protect themselves because of the fire and the debris and all the things happening at the
So
same time.
there was no fire on your level, sub 1, but there was fire, sub level 2.
There was no fire on the area where I was. I don't know if there was fire on the opposite side, but not on the area that I was. No, definitely no fire.
So Felipe came up to your level?
Came up to the level, came by the by the area of the office itself, with the hands extended, all the skin hanging, 33% of his body burnt, pieces missing from his face.
And you helped him out? You got him into an ambulance? You then went back in?
Correct.
You went back in 3 times?
Correct.
You're credited with saving over 100 people's lives?
Something like that.
Yes. You yourself were the last man out. You dove underneath the fire truck as the debris fell?
Correct.
And somehow you were able to get out?
I came out, I brought a person on a wheelchair named Ed Baye, and when I put him on the lobby with the 3 other firemen, I was told to get the ambulance ready. When I went to get the ambulance ready, the building started to collapse, and the only thing I saw was a fire truck. I sleep right under the fire truck, and the building collapsed right on top of me. I was the only one that survived at that moment because all that group of firemen and the man on the wheelchair died at that moment. I'm the last person to exit the building, last man out of the building.
So here we are 7 years later, 9/11, a horrible day in American history, and Willie Rodriguez, a hero, a friend of mine, there you go. He just wants to tell his story, and I don't know, 60 Minutes, 2020, NBC News, Dateline, somebody, tell this guy's story, because all I got is a blog. Peace out, everybody. September 11th.
The airplane struck the towers high above the ground. But down in the lobby of the North Tower, marble facing flew off the walls, the windows shattered, all the glass blown out.
Right away, a guy from the Port Authority told him the damage was somewhere above the 78th floor. But all you had to do was look around. It was obvious. Something had happened right there in the lobby.
You just saw that all the windows were blown out. The lobby looked like the plane hit the lobby.
Like the plane hit the lobby. What caused so much wreckage in the lobby?
What happened? We was in an explosion. We was in the lobby and the third explosion, the whole lobby collapsed on us.
What was it like? What was it like?
Horrible.
It's like hell. You don't want to know.
The whole building just collapsed on us inside the lobby.
Was that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was.
That was the
Yeah, definitely a secondary explosion. We was inside waiting to go upstairs, and on the way upstairs, the whole fucking plane blew. And we just collapsed and everybody inside the lobby.
Similar to the first tower coming down, secondary?
I don't know about the first one, but I know the second one it was terrible. Then there was a third one too after that one.
Third explosion after that?
That's right. Everybody was inside the building, waiting to go upstairs, and they just let loose. Everything just let loose inside the building.
So what you told me is that there was a plane or whatever hit the building, then a secondary explosion.
It was like 3 explosions after that. We came in after the fire. We came when the fire was going on already. We was in the staging area inside the building.
People don't understand. There may be more. Any one of these fucking buildings can blow up. This ain't done yet.
I only go into things I study. I've studied 9/11 for 3.5 years now. And it's my expert opinion. As a demolition expert, I was trained by the best the U.S. government has. I served 3 years on Underwater Demolition Team 12. 2 years I was attached to SEAL Team 1. And when I look at the buildings and how they fall and the way they fell, they couldn't have come down without being assisted in some manner. And then when you look at the powder, if it collapsed, it would collapse in big chunks. Then I was at the site 2 weeks after it happened with Governor Pataki, right? And they had to cease digging that day. You know why? They were finding pockets of molten liquid metal underneath.
You'd get down below and you'd see molten steel running down the channel rails. Like you're in a foundry.
Yeah, like lava.
Like lava.
Why was there molten metal underneath?
You see how this debris is still smoking? That's when the fire is going to still burning. 8 weeks later, we still got fires burning.
Steel-toed boots is one of the biggest things. Out still on the rubble, it's still, I believe, 1,100 degrees. The guy's boots just melt within a few hours.
I think the most damning as evidence for me is, again, I'll bring it up, the thermitic residues found at Ground Zero. That's something that's really tough to explain away. And what it would suggest, I mean, did 19 guys with box cutters taking orders from a man hiding in a cave in Afghanistan really have access to the buildings to wire them to explode and to come down the way that they did?
You have 2 110-story office buildings. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone I found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big. The building collapsed to dust.
All
all the cement is pulverized. It's not collapsed. It's blown to dust. Well, that takes huge energy.